1, 2, testing. Although I think this should go a bit lower, like that, and then I don't know. I don't know if that works. I have no idea. Although I think this should go a bit lower, like that, and then, right. Okay, guys, I don't know. Tell me in the comments if this broadcast is clear. I need to close this curtain. Just close it a bit. Like that. How about that? Are we on? Okay. Guys, the reason I'm here in the main office instead of the other little small one is after tweaking the quatinin so full. Oh, you need to Bombay. Goodness. Gotta cover my belly, boy. This doesn't seem to fit right. All right. Hey, Bo. How's that? Yeah, but then this looks awkward with the cushion on thingy. Hey, Zach, I see you. Good morning. Do you need help setting up the office? You ain't lying. Tell you what. Oh, it won't be. Well, thanks for saying that, but if you indicate it, what I need is a straight back chair. I can't be slouched in a couch that makes me look like a beached whale. Otherwise, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to start talking about my, how sluggish I look. Anyway, guys, if you could do me a favor, if you could sort of sling this broadcast around to people that you think would be interested in this conversation. I'm trying. The secret is to sit up as straight as possible. You don't ever want to slouch. Okay. It's about to quit now. Good morning, Mono. Good morning. You look. Oh, really? Thank you, Zach. I'm encouraged. Thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that. I really did. Yeah. Although the light is like in my eye, and you can't really see my eyes. Guys, let's get into it. I've got a light that's right next to me here, and what I should have done is I should have fixed the lights. I should have done that, and I didn't do it. Okay? Right, so I'm just going to sit up straight and look straight into the camera. A couple of things I want to talk to you about today, this morning. First of all, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. Many of you have noticed I've lost my ring still. I need to buy a new ring, and I don't. And yesterday, something happened that was very predictable, I must tell you. There was nothing abstract, there was nothing strange about the occurrence yesterday at Mr. Sean Tembo's residence. Now, in order for you to understand this completely, I must explain this to you comprehensively. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. As you know, there is a conglomeration of one big political party, which is the PF, a faction of the PF that has decided to hold hands with a billion tiny pieces of insignificant parties, parties that we have never even heard of. Okay, these little parasitical parties have attached themselves to this PF, and they've called it Tonse Alliance. Now, the word Tonse means all of us, or loosely translated, all together. They came up with this harebrained idea called the Tonse Alliance. And I'll be very frank with you, the only reason they call it that is because the PF knows that they are the only real contenders in that quagmire of mess. You know, none of those tiny political parties can claim opulence, they cannot claim prominence, they can't claim strength. Nay, they can't even claim presence, because we don't even know who the hell they are. Okay, let's be clear about that. Let's be straight about that. So they came together, they formed this alliance thing, and against the backdrop that there is a legitimate faction of the PF led by Robert Chavinga. Now, when I say legitimate, what I mean is at the Registrar of Societies there, the name that appears there, in as far as I know, is Robert Chavinga as the president of this patriotic front. If there were to be elections held today, the person that would appear on that ballot box, on that ballot rather, would be Robert Chavinga. Whether you like it or not, whether you disdain it or not, whether you embrace it or shrug it off, those, my brothers and sisters, are the facts. So, and aside from that, you know, as if that, as my mother says, as if that's not enough, you have given Lubinda, along with Rafael Haijaka Nakachinda, who have formed their own little clique of the PF. Given Lubinda presides over a derivative, over a version, a shadow, a shell of the PF. So you've got these three factions. Now, yesterday what happened was Sean Tembo, who leads his own zero party. I mean, Sean Tembo's party is so insignificant that Air would be more prominent if Air were to stand in front of Sean Tembo. Just type that if that makes any sense to you. If mwewa Fiempepo were to stand in front of Sean Tembo, mwewa would eclipse Sean Tembo. If the Air were to stand in front of Sean Tembo, he would be hidden behind that Air. That is how invisible Sean Tembo is. Sean Tembo decides to hold an impromptu, what they called a press briefing yesterday. Now, originally, Sean Tembo, along with Mundubira, because as you know, Sean Tembo publicly endorsed Mundubira as the chairman of the Tonse Alliance. Sean Tembo, and anytime you have Sean Tembo endorse you for anything, just know that it will land with a hollow thud. Okay? So Sean Tembo, in his crazy, wayward wisdom, endorses Mundubira. And Mundubira knows full well that the icy endorsement of Sean Tembo is death to him or death to his political career. But Mundubira embraces that endorsement. Total nonsense. So Sean Tembo, along with Mundubira, along with KBF, for goodness sake, and a few other insignificant luminaries, decide to hold a meeting at Sean Tembo's resort. It's really not a resort, it's a lodge. It's not a lodge, it's just a place that has a couple of rooms. And it's called a lodge. It's called Palm Resort. The original idea was to hold this press briefing at Palm Resort, which belongs to Sean Tembo. And in mid-stride, Sean Tembo just decides, you know what, we're not going to hold it. We're not going to have this meeting at my resort. KBF looked at Sean Tembo and said, well, where the hell are we going to have it? Mundubila looks at Sean Tembo and says, well, where the hell are you thinking? Sean Tembo says, I've got such a great idea, you're not going to believe it. And I came up with it by myself. We're going to meet at my house. KBF looked at Sean and said, Sean, have you lost your cotton picking, zero stretch mind? We can't meet at your house. What about your wife and your kids? Forget them, man. It's my house. I'm the king of my palace. I call the shots in that home. Sure, my house looks like a synagogue cathedral. Listen, don't you talk about Simoson. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. So Sean says, forget the resort. We're meeting at my house. Now, let me stop here for a moment and just shed light on Sean Tembo's lack of wisdom. Here it is, you're placing your home, you're placing your children, you're placing your wife, you're placing your loved ones under threat by holding such a political meeting that is tainted by PF vagabonds, and you hold it at your house. Bwana, when PF decide to invade you, it's one thing when PF decides to invade the secretariat. Remember when Innocent Kalimanshi famously barged into the PF secretariat with the car that was given to him by Edgar Lungu. And because of the jealousy of those PF chaps, when they saw Kalimanshi forcibly enter into the PF secretariat as an act of solidarity for Bachishimba Kambwili, what did those PF chaps do? Bushebali Muchitambwino, did they spare him? They didn't. They just descended on him. Descended on the chap. Lekeni bapume omuntu bali mupuma filia bapuma ntwani filia baleta ntwani bamupuma. Kennedy Kamba pretended to protect Innocent Kalimanshi. And yet Kennedy Kamba was at the forefront of ensuring that Kalimanshi was beaten. On one hand, Kennedy Kamba was saying, no, mwiramuma, mumutima letfe mupumeni, ala sambere ati, he will know today why a fish has scales. Lelo ala ishwa why dinosaurs no longer roam this earth. Mupumeni bane mupumeni. But you call Kennedy Kamba letfe, no, don't eat it. That is the nature of PF. The reason I've brought that story up is to demonstrate to you the intrinsic nature of the Patriotic Front. It is one of confrontation, violence, brutality, confusion. You saw when the faction that was sent by Given Lubinda, because as you know, there were two meetings being held simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. On one hand, Sean Tembo's meeting was being held at his home under the Tonse Alliance with Given Lubinda, Brian Mundubira, KBF. On the other hand, you had Given Lubinda, Rafael Haijakana Kachinda at the PF Secretariat. Given Lubinda's boys went to Sean Tembo's house, entered a private residence, uninvited, unsolicited. But because PF has that nature of just destroying everything and anything in its path and in its wake, the PF chaps, they just barged into the house and said, Imwe, Iwe, Ulaliye, Kawawawa, Ulaliye. Ero chi komanda chaisa Afrika, chaisa nati, Oda, Fifumieni. muleyangana na PF ngayapunda fyati order. Yo ishwe fyati iwe chapwa ya Gloria. It's finished, you've gone, Gloria. Now, what I found amusing, what I found amusing was when that PF commander said, order! That's the question I had. Is, okay, you've given the order to disband the meeting. Now, when they went to lift to pick up those chairs, where were they going to take those chairs? Anyway, on top of that, amena Cosmo Mumba, mwalimu mwana Cosmo Mumba, kwati ni ishiru, ale pitana fye Cosmo, kwati na apena, ale tifye, chapwa ifo tuwasanswa, wahala tupuma, bantu Cosmo kali alu wala, udia kufu afya ninomba nina fya kafua. Cosmo nga wa mukumi ya mufya akafua. Keni PF cadres kumia Cosmo apusuka. It's not possible. So Cosmo na wale tifye, katuisha kutwala yo tuwasanswa. Ba Brian Mundu bida chala bashani, bantu muna wala tuipaya. Mwali yeshwe fe wa PF, nga watu bakupume, wala pumange mbwa. Lero chapo ife tuwaya. Chapo tuwaya Gloria. You're playing with PF. They are not to be toyed with. That thing that they called a meeting was immediately disbanded. Now, the other interesting point I must make is that because if you see that video, the video that is circulating, there's no Sean Tembo in those videos. Ideally, the owner of the house, especially the owner of the house, if you see any video of Kafuafu at Simonson, chances are I'll be in that video. I'll be there. If you bring Kafuafu, muchisungu balanda to Kerfuffle, if you bring Kerfuffle, muchibemba Kafuafu, to my personal house, my home, chances are you will see me in that video. Why? Because it is my home. That is my homestead. That is my abode. That is my cave. That is where I reside. But not Sean Tembo. You couldn't see Sean Tembo. He was nowhere in sight. You know where he was? Church bed. Munshimwa bed mudia amo bale panga ma phone ko bale tumina ba CDF police. Sean Tembo alele munshimwa bed atfe alaimwe bakapokola imwe kurona tusanswa. Kwishira ba PF na ababayila na abakolwa na abapena. Beshire mukutuwipaya. Abana bandi bali mu nganda abakashibandika bifeka ngabele kwi bali kuchipatala, but it was my fault that I decided to hold this meeting here. No, but CDF police, can you please come and remove these chaps from my house? Please, na papata. What did the police do? Immediately, they went there. They disbanded those chaps, removed them. Sean Tembo, don't be foolish. Don't put your wife and children in harm's way for politics. Do you hear that? I mean, it's one thing to get zeros on the campaign trail. That can at least be understood, if not condoned. But to deliberately place your home, your children, and your wife in harm's way in front of PF cadres, then you're not serious. You're not serious. Okay. Thought I'd share that with you guys. The same CDF police that Sean Temple despises every day. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you so much. Guys, the only reason I came and I did this in this room today is because in the other room, right outside, there's a generator. One of the shop owners here at Simoson is using a generator and it's right below my window, and you just hear the generator. Although I'm not comfortable with this. Someone says, people even watch this man, but live. I find that so funny. Good answer, Mwansa, is that Mwansa Chenda? Mwansa Chenda, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Now I have to stand up, go behind the phone, and then switch it off. Okay? Next time I'll sit in a more comfortable chair, not this couch that makes me look like a beached whale. Yeah, trois fois. Right.